23 to order. If everybody's out there listening and wondering about coming up here, you're welcome, but however, note that the roads are not that great. I just came up here, and Michael just came up here a little while ago, and there were some of the board members. So just take care, be safe if you decide to come out. If not, there's other meetings you can certainly attend. So with that, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote since we have a few people on virtual today. I'll start with Ms. Ossendorf. Roll call if you're here or not.
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Marshall?
I'm here.
Ms. Buck?
Here.
Uh-oh, can't. Talk again.
You hear me now?
Yes,
Are you here?
and I am here.
Ms. Stiff? And Chair's here along with Superintendent Frank Norton. So with the first topic on the agenda is our honors course on the workshop. This, Dr. Wagner, are you leading this? Is George online? Is he present?
I'm leading.
I'll just say this, board member Rowe wishes she could be here. She really does. She has a family commitment. If there's some changes, she will try to log in. But in the meantime, she wishes she was here.
Yeah, so are you okay if I start?
Yes, go right ahead.
I just wanted to circle back. I know that Mick Wendland and George Nemernich were presenting on the courses, so the 5 courses that we had approved by the board. And then some honors pieces had come up. So I wanted to kind of circle back with the group here today and give some opportunity for me to build the background of kind of the vision moving forward. I will backfill a little bit so we understand where Mr. Wendland and Nemernich were coming from with their pieces on understanding what honors courses are. So just for clarity, we are staying the course with honors. I'm going to talk a little bit more about our vision planning and access and opportunity. So that's the direction I'm going.
The noise right here.
Is it loud?
I can't hear.
You just,
Okay.
it's not you, it's the.
It's the acoustics. It's the acoustics. So
Thank you.
I will talk a little bit more about this. We will have questions. I'm going to highlight the honors courses, but that's not where I'm going to sit. I'm going to really talk about moving forward, what I will be doing as a teaching and learning department, working with not only the high school, but also the middle school. And I'm going to start planting some seeds about our talent development and our rising scholars opportunities that we don't necessarily have yet at our elementary schools, but that's something that's going to be a very great opportunity for students to see themselves as scholars before they even have to decide if they're going to go into advanced academics. Right? So one thing that I thought would be very helpful for this group is to understand multi-tiered systems of support. We call that MTSS. And typically you see it as a pyramid or a triangle. And we usually hear in the educational world how much we're doing for intervention for students who are not demonstrating proficiency, whether in math or in literacy or other social emotional. So we sit on that kind of the left hand of the diamond. Looking at tier 1 is our core instruction, what every student is going to get. Tier 2 is that subtle target remedial services, and tier 3 could be very, very intensive, and at times are the pre-referrals to our special ed programs. So that's where we tend to sit with our intervention. What I like to talk about too is that we really want to optimize our tier 1 instruction across the board, so that when you're walking into any classroom or you're working with any teacher, I want them to be able to demonstrate high quality instructional practices, regardless of what their core is. So what are their instructional routines? What are we doing every day for every learner within the classroom? And so we really sit in that tier 1 to make sure, do we have everything that we need to be successful? Now, if we flipped to the enrichment side or advanced academics, there is the other side of that diamond, which is also designed to be intervention, meaning what are we going to give students, regardless of who they are, as they demonstrate either advancement or other pieces that we see tier 1 is working really well, but we see that there's some other opportunities because you are demonstrating some academic excellence or you're being a scholar in some capacity. Now, being a scholar doesn't necessarily have to be academics. It could be critical thinking skills. It could be social emotional behaviors, other characteristics that we see. So when we're thinking about honors courses, we want to be able to see courses that have a tier 1, a tier 2, and tier 3, and that we also have an opportunity for students to see themselves in advanced academics, meaning any student should be able to access honors courses, but we also need to provide opportunities for our teachers to have the right professional development and instruction and an infrastructure to understand how to respond to those students. So if we recall back to Mr. Nemenich and Mr. Wendland's presentation, we were just presenting the courses that we were going to move forward with, and then somebody had questioned, Ms. Rowe had asked about our honors courses. And I did a little bit of background investigating to figure out the previous administration, what their vision was. And their vision was to think critically about tier 1 and provide some pieces in place so that all students would get tier 1 instruction and that enrichment would essentially be removed as we move forward. We know that the research goes both ways. And so I don't want to minimize the work of the previous administration, but I do want to really look at what could we do differently to respond to challenge by choice. So I've had some opportunities to work with the Big 9 directors of teaching and learning. Many of the Big 9 districts keep their honors courses. What they do is they remove the gatekeeping. So we don't eliminate any student based on one specific set of data points. We do not discriminate or show bias by language proficiency, by race, by socioeconomic status. What we really want to start doing in Red Wing, and I've started some conversations, is to think about challenge by choice. So enlisting our caregivers, our parents, our students as key stakeholders in determining what's that challenge that I would like to take, what supports will be in place, which is the responsibility of the Director of Teaching and Learning, the Teaching and Learning Department, the district, to equip our teachers to be able to differentiate that way. So that's a little bit of background building, that we have this diamond that we're really looking at, and I wanted to clarify not only for the board, but the community as well. One thing that you might not be familiar with is that Mike Pagel, Jen Grove, Kayla Awalope, Emily Seafelt, and myself have been part of Atlas program through the Minnesota Department of Ed, where we're actually looking at beefing up our tier 1. And so we've made some commitments. I won't read them to you, but essentially we are looking at our framework differently to ensure that we have high quality tier 1 instruction. And that we're really looking at safe and caring communities, equitable access. We're looking at grade level material. We're strategically looking at data. With all of this is just in time support. So we're really looking at across the board, every student is going to have this tier 1 experience. Now, with that said, we are going to have students who demonstrate some academic achievement or enrichment or present some talent development that we want to be responsive to as well. So the Teaching and Learning Department, the Atlas cohort that I'm working with the team on, is really going to go deeper into creating pathways for our enrichment and advanced academics. So that's there for your review. Just to highlight the honors components, these are the honors courses that we are going to continue with, recognizing that honors physical science, because of the switch with earth science going into 9th grade and then physical science going into our 8th grade, we are adjusting that just a little bit. But we do, as you can see, we have our APs courses, we have our college and the school courses, not listed here, but they are available to our high school students. So we are staying the course with our honors courses at the high school. However, we are being very planful and forward thinking about our advanced academics. So this is a pretty interesting graphic, only because I was able to visit with some of the stakeholder groups, our math team, our ELA team, just to really get the worm's eye perspective of what our teachers are contending with, what our students need, what our community is asking for. So this is kind of my timeline with the Teaching and Learning Department to review and revisit what are our trends. Do we have a natural proportion of representation of our students? We are seeing that we are having a nice balance of many different types of students in our enrichment courses. We could do better. So we're going to start there now in the spring. We are going to create a cohesive and coherent enrichment and advanced academics pathway, and have that really figured out from the middle school all the way up to the high school level. So we're not kind of contending with these last minute reactive type of pieces. And then with that said, we'll use all of our Atlas planning with tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 on the other side of the diamond for enrichment, and then start using the language challenge by choice. And so parents, guardians, students are really that active, vested stakeholder in making their decisions in what courses they're going to take, and whether or not they high flex in and out, or that they are seeing themselves at a tier 1 level, and we create that continuum or that pathway, but our teachers will be prepared to be able to differentiate. The last thing I want to say is that we are going to start really looking at our talent development within the school district, because many of our students don't necessarily see themselves as scholars unless we can give them opportunities at the elementary level to really know that they can do hard things, right? So we want to interrupt a stereotype threat. The biggest thing in understanding who you are as a learner is to believe that you are a learner. So what talent development is also known as gifted and talented, which we do get funds for. One new idea that I want to throw out there is Rising Scholars is actually also known as Young Scholars in some districts, but it is an opportunity for students who are historically underrepresented to be able to be in a pathway that allows them to recognize themselves as a whole learner and using complex ideas, becoming critical thinkers. And it does take a little bit of finesse, meaning we would have to start doing some cognitive ability testing to really get a clear pathway for talent development. And then those students who don't necessarily hit all of the targets but are very close, we're starting to identify them. And then the infrastructure that I've had some work in doing in previous districts is actually training Rising Scholars teachers, which are grade level teachers who provide some enriched opportunities within the classroom. And we do a concerted focus on ensuring that our students start to see themselves as scholars. We have natural proportions of representation of different types of students. And then it's not that uncomfortable feeling of maybe not having an affinity in an honors classroom, or just recognizing that challenge by choice and that students have voice and choice with their guardians in programming. So I know that was a lot that I kind of threw at you.
I like the last Rising Scholars.
The Rising Scholars program is pretty phenomenal. I've had some opportunity to work in school districts with that, but again, it's very strategic. We need time to work with our teachers, and I'm willing to bet that if we can start looking at our talent development from early programming and provide opportunities for Rising Scholars, we'll see the ship righting. Just so, yeah, that was a lot.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. If we flipped back to where you have the honors courses, so that was starting like grade 9 essentially, and grade 8 language arts honors LA 8 was one of the question marks from the last meeting. So is that still part of this or not? I mean, I understand that this is high school, so it starts at 9.
So I focused on the high school. We do have our enriched program. So at this point, we are staying the course. And backing up and having those conversations. For example, we did meet with the math departments both at the high school and the middle school to talk about what is our vetting process. They just had, and I'm only speaking specifically to math at this point, but math is so linear. So we really want to ensure that we have the skills for those students, but we are encouraging our parents and our guardians to be part of that. So we do have some guiding skills that we may see students have to go into enriched or to honors that we share with families and with students. We still give them the opportunity to decide which pathway they would like to take. So it's a little bit more about being part of the decision as opposed to being the gatekeeper and saying, yes, Anna, you are going to go this way, but no, Rachel, this is what you're demonstrating, so you're going to go this way. Although Rachel may be demonstrating something at home, or a parent or guardian may just want to act, be the advocate for their students. So that's the more equitable approach to this. And then we are going to be setting up the systems to ensure we can support appropriately. We have to have an infrastructure that's strong enough to support it. So as opposed to just removing right away without having a plan, I would rather be planful and responsive to what teachers need, but also what our students need.
Thank you.
I actually have a couple comments and a couple questions.
Sure.
So
one thing that I was really frustrated by, and I got a lot of emails in regard to, was I asked George and Mick if the teachers knew that this was coming down the pathway, the elimination of honors classes. And I was answered yes. And I did not get that answer from every single teacher. Emailed me and said that they were not knowledgeable of that decision or in support of it. In fact, all of the emails I received are not in support of dropping honors classes. So I just want to be clear on that. I have not received one email in favor of that. Because I think what you're talking about, right, is a differentiated classroom.
For this plan?
Well, just in your lingo, like that we're looking to move to more of a differentiated classroom. That's what I'm hearing. You use the term differentiated.
Sure. So with the diamond, if you think about the diamond, if I go back to the diamond here, there'd just be different tiers, so levels of support.
In the same classroom.
Nope, just within the honors. So the core instruction at tier 1, let's say if I had to kind of draw a picture for you, core instructions, like a standards-based math class, is going to have students who are on the pathway or have selected into standards-based math, let's say geometry. But those that are demonstrating some proficiencies would still go into an enriched or an honors class, which would be advanced coursework. That would continue.
Would that be a separate class? Though?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm
Yes.
trying to,
Yep.
okay, thank you. And, you know, usually I thought my understanding is honors classes, like, do have some criteria, like whether it was a teacher's recommendation or like a grade point average, because, I mean, it really wouldn't make sense for someone who has no proficiency in math skills to be, because they feel like it, or their parents, to put them into a high-level math course, right? Like,
So-
why don't we have any standards?
We do. We do
I thought
have,
you said
there'll
anyone
be
can come in.
teacher, that's challenge by choice. So but you know, the courageous conversation is, here are some basic skills that we would have your student demonstrate. Now we will, of course, ask some of the critical questions. One that I kind of skipped over just a little bit, which is, you know, as we're working with students who do challenge by choice, are coming in because they feel like they have the skill set to be able to come in, recognizing there are some requisite skills to get in, we will, as educators, respond to that. I think the gatekeeping becomes maybe a stigma to, I'm not smart enough to get in. I know that when I've talked to some of the teachers who teach honors and maybe the standards classes as well, some of our students kind of move in and out, so they do take some risk with going in, but if we never give a risk or an opportunity to go in, they don't know.
Right. I just
if
don't
they're
want to
able
set
to-
them up for failure,
Right.
like, yeah, you're
Right.
welcome to take enriched math, but
Yeah.
you're never, you know.
So
it's
one of
gonna
the
be
things
difficult.
we did for enriched, for the registration for 8th grade, so at Twin Bluff, there were criteria for the math skills, but then there was also just opportunities to ask questions. And if you felt as a parent that, or as a student, that you had the skills or the supports or the resources to try to attempt the course, that we would allow that to happen. So,
Okay?
Can I just ask 2 more questions? Sorry, I have a lot, like, so I know we get money for gifted and talented
Mhm.
programming. What do we
Yes.
do with it? Because we don't offer gifted and
Yeah.
talented.
from
Where does
my
it go?
understanding, from my investigation in the fall, and Mr. Norton, you can certainly jump in, is most of the money is vested into our college into the school programming. So it's not a lot of money. It's around 70,000. Don't quote me around that, but I did right away investigate this fall to see where our money was funded. So it is channeled really specifically. So what we want to do is kind of zoom out, but there are implications for that. So just getting a task force together to really be mindful of where those funds are going and what kind of implications that would have as well. We can also really look at other funding streams to be able to support some of these programs as well.
Just one parting comment. I think, you know, if, you know, we bring back for discussion, like dropping honors classes and enrichment programming, we're gonna see exodus of high quality students and teachers. So I just wanna be really clear that I think that that's a very big possibility.
Ms. Buck?
Thank you.
So I like what you presented, Martina. I'm really excited to see where these things can go. My experience, I don't think removing,
if we're gonna be inclusive and diverse, separating students from one another is a wrong idea. Because when I entered Ellsworth, me and my younger sister were the only ethnic people, Indigenous people. And so in that environment, it was, they encouraged us to bring our culture in, and we would show our regalia and we would do dance demonstrations, and then we did an essay, and that's how I learned about my grandma Buck being born in a teepee in 1917 at Bay Point Park, like many tribal members. And she didn't have a birth certificate, and nor was she born a citizen, because Native Americans weren't granted citizenship until 1924, I believe. But when I got to middle school, when I left my sister and I was the only Indigenous ethnic person in there, I learned about the N-word for the first time. But at first it said prairie attached to it. And so that's when my mom decided to pull me from Ellsworth Public Schools and said if she's going to be bullied for her race, then I need her with the rest of her relatives in Red Wing. I was not really bullied here. And if they were, we had Prairie Island and our allies. So, and to touch on the honors classes, I have a student that's in it, and she's been in it, and she's super intelligent, and she's white passing, but the class still knows she's from Prairie Island. And she's been isolated since day one, and she struggles real bad with anxiety, and she can feel that isolation of being different. And so we've had to create a 504 plan for her, because she's real smart, though. She's so super smart that she can still nail those academics minus that anxiety. But I couldn't imagine any other students who are just as equally as intelligent as her, but the anxiety maybe got the best of them. So I really appreciate these diverse and alternative plans being put in the mix, and the embracing of things.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Wagner, thank you for presenting.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions on something presented, feel free to reach out to them after or even before the meeting so they can get the information for us too.
And I can share the slide deck too, so you can kind of read through. I kind of quickly went through the bullets.
I thought you were done.
I'm done,
Oh,
but I can get it to you afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
That'd be great.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very
Yep.
much for.
Let me know if
doing that.
other questions come up.
Glad to hear the honors and all that's being held, continued on, and for the benefit of our students.
Perfect. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Michael. Black Student Union update. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you? Come on up. Bring them up. Pull the chair. We want to meet these fine young men. Go right ahead.
First of all, so my great grandmother always taught me was always give thanks. And I want to start out by say thank you to Nikki and her ancestors for allowing us to come on here, this land, and speak. Because I'll tell you, 30 years ago, this wasn't happening. 30 years ago, I could count, how many people of color went to school here. You feel me? For people that don't know, my name is Michael Lickness Holmes. I'm a youth advocate for Hope Coalition, and I was blessed from the school to come in and work with the kids. And that led to me becoming an advisor for BSU, which is the Black Student Union. And these are two of the these kids are unbelievable, man. I'm about to start crying. This is Mr. Jazz Euchre. I hope I didn't chop your name up too bad.
No, you got it perfectly correct.
This is Malachi Bushy. I apologize.
And what was this one again?
This is
Yeah.
Jazz Euchre.
Nice to meet you both. Thank you for coming tonight.
No problem.
BSU, man, Black Student Union, you know, group created by the Black students of Red Wing for everyone, creating a safe space for them to just, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but just, yeah, escape, you know, escape from the madness that's going on. We have so far, I remember Black Student Union was brought together about 2-3 years ago. And it was only about a handful of people. And it got to the point to where now we're over 30+ members in this group. Active members, involved members, concerned. And these are just students, you feel me? Like I love hearing everybody as the adults speak and, you know, their concerns, this, that, and the other. But it's more enriching hearing it from these kids. Because at the end of the day, man, it's about these kids, not just these young men, but all the kids.
Yeah.
Not just your Black kids, your white kids, or Asian, Native, so on and so on. But today we're going to talk about Black Student Union and just a couple of things we've done so far, you know, through the year, halfway through the year. These kids are moving mountains. I went from sitting in a closet, literally, with kids to a decent sized room, you know what I mean? And these kids can come in and work. Every time they come in, first thing they do, they grab their little snacks, they sit down at the table, and every little Chromebook laptop is open, working, conversating, they're getting work done. I've started with a few kids, I'm not gonna mention any names, but GPAs are were well below 2.0. Now all these kids got GPAs over 2.0.
Congratulations.
You know, I congratulate the kids, they're doing it. I'm just creating that. You know, a long time ago when I joined the HRC, the Human Rights Commission, my youngest asked me, "Why are you doing this, Dad?" I was like, I want to create a platform for the ones that ain't being heard. And if you guys have, about a week ago, the paper did a beautiful article about Black Student Union. And if you read it, there's kids in there that's quoted that they don't feel like they're being heard. They feel like they're just being pushed aside. You know, I mean, that's just a part of the little experiences. They created a shirt, man.
Stand up. Let's see.
Like these kids, seriously, like I ain't got skills like this.
You did that.
No,
They were all of them were a part of this, you know? And this embodies their hard work. You know, it's got the thing on the back, dream, you know. Yeah. It's these kids did it and they have created such a buzz with these shirts. Like I now have to figure out how to do a fundraiser, you know, and that's okay with me. But my main thing is I would like, if one of you two would like to speak on your experiences here so far, I would love to allow you guys, because at the end of the day, it's about y'all. You feel me? So I'll move over because he's wrong.
Kind of where this is.
We'd love to hear it because we've asked you to come because we've honored Black History Month
Right.
at our meeting first Monday of February, which was the 6th, I think, whatever it was. So that's what it was all. Well, thank you for coming here. We'd love to hear what you have, your story.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I haven't been here too long. I've only been here maybe a month and a quarter. And after joining BSU, it gives us more freedom to talk about things that, like how we feel and how we can connect more as a community with the school. Because it's not really, like, it's definitely a big part about BSU is that the kids get to speak on how they feel and how they can connect. But it's not just BSU, it's about other kids too. Like, and that's kind of like what I'm thankful for, because BSU kind of gives us that freedom of speech to talk about what we need to. And Mike does a great job with helping us with that, because our advisory weeks, we'll go in, we'll talk about, historical things, what we're doing. Last time we talked about shirts, the board came in asking us questions about like, how would we feel if we were to create something for teens and maybe younger children? And I'm really thankful for that as well, because we actually got to talk, like the children got to talk about it. It wasn't just adults. The adults, staffs and teachers had questions, but it was more of the kids talking. So that's why I want to congratulate BSU for what they've done.
And what grade are you in?
8th,
8th grade. You like the school?
yes.
Good. Well, welcome. Glad you're here. Very good story, very good outlook. Next.
I'll just give you guys a quick,
Thank you.
Speaking about what Jeff says, oh yeah, my name, Malachi. Speaking of what he said, we were talking about like, an environment to like escape from everything, the rec center or whatever.
yeah, we've been talking with the rec.
Yeah, we were thinking like volleyball and stuff like that. Yeah, BSU is just a really good escape from drama and all that sorts of stuff. Cause it's, not traumatizing, but too much for our brains sometimes. And it's a good way to escape and whatnot. Yeah, it's a pretty good escape and whatnot. It's also fun, so we can, cause we basically have a little fun time and whatnot, instead of, homework and stuff like that. Pretty boring, not gonna lie. Yeah, like so we can get our homework done and just a free space to talk and, listen to whatever Mike says. Or if we go on a field trip, that's really fun too. We can learn about our history and whatnot. I don't think I got anything else.
Give a quick little,
What grade, Mal? What grade? 8th grade.
8th grade.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
School is supposed to be at times fun.
I wanted to give you guys a quick little update, just on some of the things we've done so far this year. I know I'm almost past my time, so I appreciate it. We had took a field trip to the African American Heritage Museum. Yep. We created shirts. We've got people coming in talking about what they envision in a rec community center, a place for the kids to go after school. Cause I'm tired of seeing kids walking around town like zombies with nothing to do. Walking in alleys, going in cars. If they had somewhere, some type of center.
Or like a game.
You feel me? Yeah, exactly.
Like a PC and stuff like that.
One thing, well, weather permitting, that's obviously not gonna happen this week. We had planned to go read to the kids at Sunnyside and Burnside, but I'm thinking, we might have to hold that back a little bit, Sorry, I'm just not blanking, I'm just overwhelmed in like the most positive way possible. Because these I'm sorry to put these young men on blast like this. These are some of the two of the quietest ones in the group. And for them to get up here and speak their mind like this, man, it's so powerful. I got involved with BSU because it's like, I want to engulf myself with as many kids of color, and even not just necessarily kids of color, but at-risk youth. Because I've walked that path of an at-risk youth. But at the end of the day, these kids have made me such a better man, a better husband, a better father. So I just want to thank them. I want to thank Miss Stokes. for allowing me to work with these kids, man. So whatever, I don't know if you guys got any questions, but
I do, I have more of a comment, and maybe somebody else does. I want to thank you, all three of you, and you, Michael, for doing this, and then applaud you for wanting to go down and read to the young kids in Sunnyside.
I didn't know we were doing that.
Whoever wants to.
whatever the little
But you're not doing it this
Snapchat
week.
group they got, I don't do the Snapchat thing, so. But, that
I
is,
noticed you finished each other's sentences too a few times, like an
I
old
did.
married couple.
that's why I like to, these are my guys, these are my little artists right here, so if I need something drawn up, these guys are the one to go to. But, that is a big plan of doing the, reading to the kids. We've got a volunteer option with Hope Coalition in April. A bunch of BSU members will be helping with the, Child Abuse Awareness Month, thing we got going on in conjunction with the Y. I ain't gonna say too much because it ain't all finalized, but we got something super awesome coming to town. And then having the involvement of the BSU kids being involved as well too. Just getting out in the community and letting them know who we are and, you know, just trying to make this one, make it one. You know, I'm tired of this division because one person don't like this person now, it's everybody's fault. I'm done. It's, you know, us as adults, it's time for us to grow up and start listening to these kids. You know, I'm done. I'm done.
Thank you for coming this evening
I
on this snowy
appreciate
night. We have somebody raising their hand, Ms. Buck, go right ahead.
Thank you, Michael, for all that you do and for coming tonight. And thank you to the two students for coming. I know that, Michael, you're such an amazing asset to our, not only our community, but our district. And he's like another uncle to my Nina. So I agree with you 100%. We got to try and build this as a community. So Nina will be there for showing up tonight.
Thank you. All right, well, appreciate you taking time on this day. Do you have any final words? Otherwise, we'll let you go.
Hey, if y'all wanna buy a shirt, I need help figuring out this fundraiser.
Send us some information on it.
All right, yeah, I'll figure it out.
And then let me ask one question.
Yes, sir.
You have your advisory time where you're meeting with most of them. Is it all day or is there a certain time period during the
It's a
day?
certain time period from.
Pardon me?
A certain time period.
Certain time period?
Yeah.
10:30 to, we get 30 minutes every 2 weeks,
Maybe I'll
but
pop in sometime.
please do, man. Love it, you know, come, even if not, come sit up in my new class with me, you know?
I would have.
Yes, though, I went from getting kicked out of class as a kid here in Red Wing High School to actually having a class now, so I'm blessed, man.
I was just waiting for you to get out of the closet so you can come to your classroom. A little more sense.
It was a hot one in there, so we're good now,
I'm
man.
glad they were able to do that. So again, thank you very much for coming.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Ms. Stokes, I believe you're next on semester data review.
Thank
Good
you for
evening.
having me.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, I'm Andy Stokes, one of the assistant principals at Red Wing High School. I actually just wanted to share some different things that we're doing to celebrate students. I do have data associated with it, but the focus is on celebrating students that are making awesome choices. So we started a couple celebrations in November. The first one is attendance awards, and not if a student is absent for being sick, that's one thing. We don't want them coming in if they're not feeling well. But when students are here, the goal is that they make it to every single class on time. Well, that's pretty challenging because that's 7 chances to get it right every day. And so we do, every 2 weeks, we do a drawing for any student that doesn't have a single mark. They made it 70 out of 70 times, which is actually, it's very challenging. So, but we have over 50% of the student body doing that. So I have it broken down, and we do that every 2 weeks. And this last couple weeks, we had about 55% of the kids in grades 9 and 11. In 10th grade and 8th grade, 54%, and seniors, 50%, which is a big increase. They've been making some progress, but it's just fun to see and then fun to celebrate the students. I don't know how excited they get about getting their name announced over the loudspeaker, but too bad. I have a lot of fun with it. And they get to come down and they win some different prizes, and a few of the things that they could win, and they get to pick from the little prize menu. One of them is like a box of Glazer donuts that I deliver before school to them. They could, if they're a junior or a senior, they could take 4th hour off with parent and teacher permission. They can leave campus, and so that's kind of cool for the older students, or like a homework pass. So we try to do different prizes that are not that are cost effective, because I have a $0 budget, so we're trying to be as creative as possible. But it's fun. It's just a way to celebrate the students. We use the same prize menu for another celebration we do. It's a monthly celebration. We're looking for 0 referrals, so minors and majors. So if a student is struggling in an area, a teacher might write up a minor referral or a major. But so that's what we look at, that data each month. And I'm happy to say that about 95% of our students each month have 0 referrals. So I just think that's something to really celebrate. It's easy to focus on students that may be struggling, or students that we're working on to get them into class more often or whatever. But we really want to celebrate these students that are doing well. And there are a lot of them. Attendance, we have some work to do, but it's hard to get 100% of the time in 2 weeks. So I find that really challenging. And so I think it's really cool that over 50% of our students are able to do that. And I'm just really proud of our students with their lack of referrals. So they're doing really well. So I just wanted to mention those 2 things. Any questions or comments before I move on to one other thing?
Thank you for sharing.
Was this your idea?
Yes.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. I am partnering with SOAR, Nikki Larson. I'm partnering with her to get some ideas and to get some ideas from students. And they have a little more funding than I do with my $0 budget. So we're trying to partner with some of those things. And hey, if anyone wants to donate out there, you know where to find me. So yeah, so it's exciting.
I would like to donate my time to helping be creative when you guys meet sometime, Mandy.
That would be great.
So,
I would love that.
because I just spent so much time trying to escape that establishment. But you know, the thing is that if I knew then what I knew now, like how awesome that that immaculate structure of time management for me, that I can do all these wonderful things in such a short amount of time. So like, how can we properly communicate that to them to get them to stay in with us?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm always looking for ideas, because I'm not very creative when it comes to this. I have a DoorDash pass, which normally the students can't get DoorDash, but they can get DoorDash one time. So that's, you know, so it's that kind of thing, you know. But I failed to mention that. So any students with the referrals, any students that don't have any referrals, their name goes into a drawing, and I pull out one name from each grade. So, and same thing with the attendance. That's how that is done. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention is I just wanted to kind of let everybody know about our after school program. We got a grant through the Duff Foundation to kind of help bolster and build our after school program, because our goal is to have students find connections here and want to be at school through various ways. So if that is, hey, you know, I get to play chess after school, that's a way to bring them in and a way to get excitement and build relationships. So that is one thing we're working on right now, is building that program. Most of the year we've had winger study, which is they can come to the IMC from 4 to 5 o'clock. We have 2 teachers there. One is always a math teacher to work with students that want some extra help or just want that dedicated time to work on homework. So we have been doing that most of the year. And now this week, horrible week to start with all the snow, but we are trying to add more enrichment activities. So they can still get that academic help, anybody that wants it, but now we also want to have some other options too. So we have, it's called Anytime Friends. We're partnering with Rise Up Red Wing. And I'm looking to also build it and reach out to other groups and partner with other groups and just kind of continue to build. But we have, they meet from 3:50 to 5. They get a snack, same thing with Winger Study. That's new now. We're working on snacks. Snacks always good. And then do some different activities. Like today is, I lost the thing there, but today was games. We're gonna have some chess. We're gonna do some baking, so some life skills, but building those connections and just getting the students excited about being here. That is in a different way. So that's where we're at. And we're just trying to grow. And
How many
Yeah.
students are you getting?
well, today was our first day, and with the snow, it was not good. So I don't expect that it's going to be big to begin with. I think it'll be more word of mouth, but also I'm going to put it in the newsletter and kind of promote it in various ways. So it's a soft opening, very soft opening at this point, but I hope to really grow it.
Work with Ann and get it on the weekly newsletter.
Yes.
So the parents know that the kids, they can say, hey, why don't you take advantage of this? I'll come and pick you up after work or something.
Yes, exactly. Yep, that's
You're right with some of
it's in the making. So,
Avoid that giant line at 3:50.
exactly.
It starts at 3.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
it.
So that's what we have going on.
Thank you. Any other questions at all? Ms. Stokes? Well, thank you very much for taking.
Thanks for having me.
Be safe driving home.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have second reading of the policy 536, therapy animals in school. Mr. Norton.
So you can see within the packet, the red line versions of what we had accomplished from the first reading and the suggestions that came from the directors and the chair, just as far as second page, there's just the one with the tether. Most of it centered around certifications and what was needed to the dog's qualifications for being able to enter into the building prior to them actually coming into the building, to put it simply. So rabies, for example, mandatory rabies, animal checkups, certifications, and those are all listed on page 4 and 5. And then the last one basically is an animal taking antibiotics and that kind of stuff. And so if they are not well and they're in between and they're taking antibiotics, we would ask them not to come into the building until such time that they are off of those antibiotics. So those are the changes. If there was any comments or if you had a chance to be able to read through it and you'd like something else changed before our final reading on the next meeting, feel free to jump in.
It certainly got changed since the last time we met, and I know Pam had a part of her role in adding some of this, and actually adding the names of the establishments that offer the Pet Partners, Alliance of Therapy Dogs, and Therapy Dogs International Shoes.
That's what I was gonna ask, if she was, that's what I was wondering, if she helped.
That was
Some of those,
Pam.
maybe some others
Yeah.
did too, and I apologize if somebody else had done, I missed that, so.
Do we know? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can wait.
Can you hear yet? Yes, they can hear.
Oh, okay.
See? Turn off, turn back on.
So if you also notice, the last line in there, other organizations meeting.
Yeah.
And that just comes to us for consideration. If it's outside of those and it's an animal that they don't even certify, they could bring it to us and we could consider that.
Sure, okay.
My recollection, Pet Partners had more than just dogs too. So that's your question. So, Ms. Buck?
Could you explain maybe a little bit better what this means? Number F, cultural view. If a particular culture of ethnicity is restricted from contact with therapy animal, staff will respectfully honor that exposure. What does that mean?
There are certain, from the research basically in looking into this, if there's a culture within the classroom, for example, a person with a culture that either has, doesn't accept the particular animal, because it's not just about dogs. It could be any animal within that classroom, that we would consider the culture of that particular individual, that student within that classroom, that educator within that classroom. And we wouldn't just allow the animal to go in without considering that person's beliefs or culture to the animal.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Because she was also virtual the night that I was. If Nikki spoke, there was like this delay from when she stopped talking, when her mic went off. There would be this delay where I wouldn't hear sound. Like I could see your mouth moving, but I couldn't hear anything. And same thing for her if I talked. So I think there's something when people who aren't here, like, start talking, stop talking, that causes some sort of weird thing. I don't know what the thing is, but that's what I observed when I was virtual.
I think you're right. I think you're right on with that. It happened the last meeting too. So
Looks
we
like
will,
can hear though now.
if somebody virtual speaks, we will then
Jennifer,
pause
turn
for a
that
little bit to hopefully catches it back up, okay? We'll do our best. Can you hear us now? Give us a thumbs up if you can. All right, we got Dr. Wagner here. And let's do, if anybody else has any other topics they want to bring up, but she shares one with, which one?
Are we gonna talk about training?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things I brought forward to, Mr. Bryant earlier this week was the possibility of having our board culturally competency trained, as a collective whole. So I've seen that happening, one, in a couple of my former lives in my former district has been really powerful just to understand our own identities, our own biases, and understanding how that works. As policy influencers and as we're responding to the public, I think this would be a right time for us to propose that. So one of the pieces that Mr. Bryant mentioned was possibly getting into a workshop, maybe a little lengthier, meaning it's either a couple of sessions with an outside entity. I've done some outreach to some people that I've trusted that we actually worked. Owatonna went through a Courageous Board leadership training, not similar to the Courageous Leadership training that our leadership team is going through, Mr. Norton, but very focused on board level constituents and members, and it's just a really good responsive way for us to be, responsive to our equity commitment, and just we're a very diverse community, and I think that this is a great time for us to propose that. So I want to just put it in the space. I think at agenda meeting, Ms. Rowe and Ms. Bryant will, or Mr. Bryant will identify when that will happen. Likely will be a continuation or a series of learning leadership series around cultural competencies. So just wanted to put that in the space and have you guys put that on the calendar.
Sometime one of the next agenda meetings, we're meeting Friday for agenda committee, and then not again until the 13th. So the 13th is fine if you want to
Okay,
At least we can have the dialogue and also timing, when you want, how long it takes, when we can do it. And she's right, it'd probably be a little bit down the road.
Right.
Just because of the nature.
well,
of
it's
the
hiring,
program.
you know, the right organization to come in, knowing the needs of our community is very unique with just our Black African American, our Hispanic outreach, and then our Native Americans. I want to just be really cognizant of that because we have just many different experiences. And so this is an absolutely powerful thing to do as a board, and I think it will make us united and stronger in just leading our educational program and being
And I'll
responsive.
get to you in a minute, Ms. Bjornstedt, just one more. If it's more than a workshop, we can look at a special meeting sometime down the road where it works with everybody's schedule. And probably summer, whatever, I don't know when, but we'll do it on that. Ms. Bjornstedt, go right ahead.
I'm very excited to do this work. And I think that as leaders, it's important that the public sees we're the examples and the role models. And so I think that if we can be vulnerable and have courageous conversations and show people that we are trying to learn, we want to do better, we're going to mess up. But if we create an environment where we can help each other get back on track, I just think we have to do this. We just have to do it. So I'm very grateful, Martina, or Dr. Wagner, that you are looking at this, and Jim, as the chairman, you're open to this. And I just want to say thank you. And we need to do this. So thanks.
Can you hear me now? Okay, yes, we will do that. So thank you for your comments. When we do it, we sometime a little bit down the road. So thank you.
Chair.
Yes.
One of the things that Martina and I were talking about as this came forward and is that workshops are fine, but you can also create a retreat at some particular point where we would do a day. And that's going to be more feasible basically to the presenters that are coming in, that are working with you. So just want to throw that out.
But retreat, exactly, yeah, we used to do that on the county board. We did a day where we did a retreat, just got together, tried to do some team building and all that, and that totally open to that. And then there'll be a special meeting where you invite people, not invite, you can open up, people can attend, no matter where you are. Usually, we used to do it off-site. You know, could be a place where they have lunch or something, but I'm not saying get that food, but you just
Does
find.
MSBA offer anything like this?
I don't know, you can check. She's got contacts, but very good.
Some feelers out, but we certainly have people local when we're thinking about different, and we can also do, you know, a hybrid. I think there are some basics that we need as a board, and regardless of who that is, but then the continuation, this is a journey. It's not going to be a one and done for us to be as responsive as we need to be or courageous in our communication with the community and each other and policy making. So.
And real quick, before I get to you, Ms. Buck, bring your calendars the next several meetings, just so we may come up with a date, so we can find, because I like the idea of a retreat more than just a few hours, maybe at night, maybe we do something, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So,
I'll
Ms.
get
Buck.
as much information in your hands first so you can make the best decisions on the direction we're going to go. And like I said, just to be committed to not being a one and done, but understanding that it's an evolution and it's a journey, and just let's put Red Wing on the map. We got this. We can do that hard things. So.
Okay, Ms. Buck.
We do buffalo tours and garden tours for free down on Prairie Island, where we load everybody up on the truck and you go right in the heart of where the buffalo are. So that could be an idea, maybe a nice little picnic lunch by the river, you know. So an idea to consider.
Nikki, the entire Red Wing Public Schools staff wants this, so I'm trying to figure out how we can get that. If we have enough to get out there and back, so we have to kind of think through that as well.
You and I will have to take Uncle Paul out for lunch and just finesse him into doing this.
I went to Uncle Paul's class with his son Broderick, and yeah, they do it for the new teachers, but some of the teachers that were there are asking, can can we go again? Can we go as, does it only have to be
Yeah.
the new teacher? So, and I think that's something that if we do that, I think the board should be included in an invitation to see who can make it too, so.
Well, it's in the works, so you'll be
Understand.
invited.
Thank you, Nikki, for offering that. So, anybody else have anything? Yes.
Yeah, I have one thing. One, I think, community concern that's I've been hearing about is behaviors at the middle school and the high school. This has kind of been going on all year. But discipline issues, and I'm just wondering if there's a way we can have a conversation where we can be transparent with, you know, the board, the community, parents on what is actually happening, because we hear rumors, you know, we hear about an incident here or there that gets blown up, and I think people, you know, the community wonders, is this a regular thing? Is this really what's happening? What's going on? And I just hear a lot of concern about that. So I'm just wondering if we can have a discussion. I'm not sure what it would look like or who we would need to bring it in. But I do know it's a big conversation that parents and community members are having. And I think it would be good for us to be transparent about what we're seeing, what our staff is seeing, what our administrators are seeing, and what we're doing about it.
Yeah, I would echo that as well. Maybe it starts with like also looking at our policies, like how we handle like discipline and, you know, just because I honestly have never looked at it, but I hear those same comments and just how those things are approached. And
we have touched on PBIS and, you know, some of the statistics that we've seen, but it feels like we need a kind of a little bit deeper dive into it, I don't know. I'm not sure what it would look like, but I just know the discussion is out there. It's pretty continuous, and people are concerned. Parents are concerned.
Ms. Bjornsted.
Sorry, old lady in technology. I think that Rachel kind of hit the nail on the head. I think that if parents don't always know where to find what our procedure is or what the policy is, and I think we need to get those policies and procedures into the hands of parents again so that they know, because we do have to honor data privacy. So just because you don't know the outcome doesn't mean that nothing happened. And so it's important that parents understand the process of how we deal with these issues. So maybe that should be part of what we talk about.
Thank you. Ms. Buck?
The policies look great and all, but there's loopholes. Some people get through them and some don't. I unfortunately did not, but I'm not going to complain because I really got immaculate discipline. But we do need to be more transparent, and we need to be less punishing. And like, I'm sitting here like the reward system sounds awesome for all those kids that don't fight the system, but what about us? The rest of us who fight the system because there's something seriously wrong inside here. And it does start with the policies. It has to be more transparent. It has to be fair, because it's left up to certain individuals to decide whether this student gets punished or this one doesn't. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
well, just to take it a step further, I'd be interested in the data of how, with our declining enrollment, how many students and their parents have cited like climate or the environment in the schools as a reason for their departure. That would be interesting to me.
Well, that's probably part of it.
Because I hear it, you know, so I don't know how many that actually applies to, but it's important.
We have that data,
Yeah,
that we could bring forward.
yeah.
We also have data on majors and minors by grade level. So all of that data is available, and if you'd like to be able to see it, we can certainly bring it to a workshop just like this, and then have discussions about that. The data privacy piece, because you might have a small sample size of a particular grade level, you know, that becomes a little bit of a concern. The demographics or nothing like that is included in it. It's simply grade level, the number of majors and what those majors are. So if it's vaping, for example, or if it's, then by grade level, they'd say this is the percentage of that population, and this is the number of those incidents that happened during that time period. And it goes by month. So you'd be able to see very specifically what's happening during that time period. If you'd like to be able to put that on, we can bring that to the agenda meeting next on Friday, Chair, and then we can bring that back to you as early as next week, or 13th.
I think it would be a very interesting topic for many people.
6th.
We just, you bring up a good point about asking questions, get that information. We have a leadership team, I call them, our admin team that gathers that, and has that information. So those are the ones we should reach out to to start some of that discussion, so we can get the background information, and instead of what we're hearing, let's see how many are actually going on. I hear from staff, and I've brought this up before, being fair and consistent on the enforcement of our policies. Ms. Buck was absolutely correct. Some may be treated this way, some may be treated that way. That, in my opinion, is not fair and consistent. No matter who you are, what you are, there should be, the policy should be followed as fair and consistently as possible, no matter who you are, what you look like, or whatever. That's just my thinking. But once you're fair and consistent, it certainly helps a long way. So let's have those discussions. Thank you for bringing that up, and everybody for sharing their thoughts, and we'll bring it forward to one of our meetings. We'll get our building leaders and get that information, and we can go from there, and they can look at the policies to see what's going on too. So, with our help. Fair enough?
Chair.
Yes.
I also have to remember that there has been, to some degree, changes at the middle school, and then changes to our assistant principals. So if we're talking about past, what's happened as far as people being treated differently, we can't put that on to our current administration in either of those buildings, because that has changed. I just want to be clear to the board and to the public that's listening, that if that was an experience that happened in the past, that may not be an experience that's happening right now. Yes, there is behaviors that are happening within the school. Nationally, that's happened, and I've said this, and it doesn't excuse what's happening in the building, but it is an issue throughout the state. When I talk to any Big 9 or local district here, that is the #1 challenge. And nationally, I just got back from the national conference, nationally, they spoke on that at every segment that I went to. And the challenge that we now have is local, yes, and it's our issue, and we need to solve it together collectively. But I'll just go back to that. I think that our current administration is making steps to be able to make sure that that's happening. I just wanted to voice that before we went on.
That's a good point. We need to dissect that information. So, anything else before we adjourn the workshop? Motion to adjourn the workshop?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second, a roll call vote. We'll start with Ms. Buck.
Aye.
Ms. Bjornstedt. I get that as an aye.
Aye. Did that work?
Ms. Tipp?
Aye.
Ms. Ossenberg?
Aye.
Ms. Schoenfelder?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We will adjourn and we will, 6:15, is that ample time, 6 minutes to start the next meeting? Would that give everybody ample time to get, so. All right, well, 6:15, we'll start the regular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you can. It's in and out, so we're gonna do our best. It's snowing up here, so we're used to having snow, and so we're gonna move the meeting along, so we're not here. So, call the meeting to order, roll call vote. Start with, Ms. Bjornsted.
I am here.
Ms. Kim? Ms. Ossendorf? Odenfelder? Ms. Buck? Ms. Rowe? Ms. Buck? You say aye, here?
Here.
And Chair's here along with Superintendent, Hank Norton. We have the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? None. Is there a second? This motion by Ms. Tiff, second by Ms. Ossendorf. Roll call vote. Start with, Ms. Buck.
Aye.
Ms. Schoenfelder. Aye. Ms. Ossendorf. Aye. Ms. Bjornsted.
I.
Go ahead.
You can hear us now?
Can you hear us now? Go ahead, Ms. Buck. You had your, okay, do you have any recognitions or upcoming events?
No, I was just trying to get you guys' attention that we couldn't hear. Thank you.
And it's kind of going in and out, so we apologize for that. We're gonna keep moving along because it's, as you know, it's snowing here. One person, well, it isn't snowing yet, but, we'll take care of it. Won't be worried about it up here, so.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Red Wing Arts Student Art Show is March 3rd through April 1st at the Red Wing Arts Depot Gallery. So there's a public reception on Friday, March 3rd from 4 to 6:30, which is always cool, because usually the teachers are there and we'll kind of talk a little bit about the students, and the students are there. It's quite packed, so if you're not into crowds, maybe not the best time to go see all of the artwork, but it is still cool to get to hear from the teachers and then maybe go back another day to be able to see all the art without a crowd. But that's always really cool to see. It's student art from kindergarten all the way through seniors. So a wide variety of media and always really neat to see.
Go ahead.
This Saturday is the home speech meet. It'll take place in Red Wing High School, and usually most of us don't get to enjoy a speech meet at all. It's kind of a private thing for the kids that are in it sometimes, but it is open to the public if anyone wants to come and see any of the rounds. First round is at 9 o'clock.
Here in high school?
Here at the high school on Saturday.
And I attended the training session that was put on by Dr. Martina Wagner and her crew, Mr. Norton, and the teachers and staff were all there, and we had student helpers coming on their day off at school to help. And there was a survey, I filled it out already, and I talked to her ahead of time. It wasn't a complaint, more of a comment. It's like there were so many wonderful opportunities for learning that it could only go to 3. So hopefully they'll come back again or something, because the 45 minutes just flew right by, and each of the presenters, to me, felt like they could have kept on going, but the time limit was up because they had another group coming in. So thank you very much for putting that on. I hope you got great responses
We did.
and wonderful participation. So I enjoyed it. I know Ms. Bjornstedt was there too. And I know Ms. Buck was gonna be there, but she had a family illness. And so thank you for doing that. Anything else on upcoming recognitions, upcoming events? All right, we'll go to the public comment period. And I didn't see anybody. Dr. Wagner, can you see if anybody signed up there, back there?
I didn't see anybody sign in.
So I'm not gonna read everything, but, we have a procedure to go. If somebody has a public comment, they need to notify Mr. Norton or the chair by noon of the day of the meeting or before, or show up in person. 3 minutes are allowed, and you can't attack anybody, you can't go after that. We have the opportunity for public comment. I did have one that came by email I wanna read. This is from board member Pam Rowe. I understand, I'm gonna read it as coming from Pam Rowe, it's gonna sound like me, because there's a lot of I's in there. So, but please note that it's from board member Pam Rowe. I've had a lot of time to reflect since we last met. My emotions got the best of me at our last meeting. I was frankly outraged that the proposal to eliminate honors courses came to us as a last minute add-on to the agenda. At the very least, a huge shift in the paradigm should have been weeks of discussion and study. And the reason behind such a proposal, in my opinion, does nothing to strengthen our stance in offering an equitable and inclusive curriculum. The only thing eliminating courses does is hide the problem. If we really want to address the lack of diverse makeup of our honors classes, we have to address the why. Now, this is from board member Pam Rowe. She was a kid who grew up with a very meager means. I was invited and encouraged by my 9th grade English teacher to try some honors English classes. Those classes pushed me. I did not get all A's, but it taught me how to write well. It taught me how to work hard. It taught me that I was capable of more than what I thought I could handle. It was what I needed to feel confident that I could even apply to college. So yes, the proposal 2 weeks ago struck a very raw nerve in me. I will never accept that we should eliminate classes because they don't have a diverse makeup. Honors English became my ticket to college, which opened up so many opportunities that a kid like me never thought possible. My emotions got the best of me 2 weeks ago, and I deeply regret any harm my words may have caused. My fight will be for all students. We all have a common goal here, to help students achieve their full potential. In unity, board member Pam Rowe. And we addressed the honors earlier on that. So hearing none else, we'll move on to school board reports. Any school board reports?
I attempted to meet with the student school board, and they had lots of other busy things happening that day. So it did not happen. I was here, but the kids were all busy doing other things, different advisory. Tough when they have a half hour to go to all of their different things. But I will try again and hopefully have a more thorough report.
Thank you for staying on top of that. I know it's not easy. Go ahead.
One thing I just thought of, Anna, did you see from the MSBA, those student representatives can apply for
Yes,
scholarships? Okay.
Yes.
I was gonna, yeah, okay.
Ms. Tipp, do you have any? No? Ms. Buck? Ms. Bjornstedt? Yeah, I did, let's see, I'm trying to think here. I attended the classes, like I talked to you about, I mentioned, and I did the equity one with your friend from Prior Lake. I can't remember the name now.
Tremaine Fulton,
Yeah.
Tremaine and Lisa.
He did. a
Oh, no,
nice job.
Sam Oak.
Sam Oak,
Oak from Prior Lake.
Then I did Paul Dresden and Broderick Dresden on Native American culture. And that was, they said, I went to the second one. They said the first one was pretty robust between Paul and Broderick kind of going back and forth, father, son. So I kind of missed out on some of that, but they did a very good job. And then I went to Olive, the person from who taught an impact, what an impact is. He's from, he's a friend of yours too. He had the book, Guatemala.
Oh, Obi Vasquez.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce those names,
Yeah.
but, very good. They all were very good. An interesting story about him is he migrated from Guatemala, went to school till 6th grade in Guatemala, then came to America. Mom made him come up here to work with him. He kept begging her to go to school, and finally something happened that triggered her. You really want to go to school? Yes. So he started in 11th grade, then graduated in 3 years. He said he called it 11th, 12th, and super senior, he called it. And he's making good money, he says, by talking English to people. But he said his message was, you have kids in your class. You might have that one, might have a bean in your hand. Everybody sees a bean. But there's somebody out there that sees that bean will grow. And that's those are the teachers that, and they put up pictures of everybody that helped him, and it was very moving. It was very good, so. We have an LMC meeting coming up, agenda meeting is this Friday, you get those information from Lisa, so. All right, we'll move on, administrative reports.
I've got a couple of things in here. Our business manager, and the board is aware of the community, our business manager, we contract with a company called SMS, and that's our contracted person is Jackie Paradis. And Jackie, now that the company is reassigning Jackie to another site, and just informing basically the board of that request to be reassigned. The board then has the opportunity basically to go into one of two different directions, and we'll discuss this when we get into personnel, but I just wanted to let you know that our contract as far as with that company expires a year from now, year out. And in contacting the board, there was a question at our last meeting as to contract language, that in order to get out of that contract, it would cost us 20% of that salary to be able to get out, and the company is not going to charge us that, because they're initiating actually the change. And they are actually offering to be able to replace Jackie with someone else, and that'll be a discussion that'll happen later on with the board. But I just wanted to put that out as far as what's happening, to be transparent. That the business manager at this particular point will be done, and her last day will be June 30th. So we have quite a bit of time to be able to make some decisions inside there, but just to put it on your radar, that decision will be coming forward on what we want to be able to look at as far as the business manager or financial manager, or what that might look like for the district. Any questions on that one? As far as our finance or our business is concerned? Okay.
We'll be bringing options back, and you'll hear me say it again. You heard me the other day, we don't need a business manager, we need a financial person.
Yeah.
Is that at the personnel meeting today or at a future meeting? We'll talk about
I'll
it.
be at personnel, remember we added the personnel to the agenda committee. So
Oh, okay, you'll talk about it.
we'll
Okay,
initiate it there and bring it back to the whole board.
gotcha. Okay, I didn't know
For
that.
consideration.
Today. Got it, okay.
We may be talking about here, but I don't think we're gonna bring it
Okay.
forward immediately because we have time.
Got it.
Like Mr. Norton stated.
Correct. This is just an introduction, basically informing the public to a change in the district office and what that might look like in the future. So the second one is our staff development. Chair Bryant just talked about it to some degree inside there. I just wanted to highlight it myself. They appreciate all of the staff, their input. There was a lot of it was done by our internal staff and their expertise. I made it around to quite a few of them myself and popped in and popped out. I'm amazed by their willingness to be able to share their expertise. So congratulations to Martina for putting that together. One of the things that the public basically may or may not know, and I wanted to kind of highlight this, is what the professional development was about. And there were many strands to that, and maybe Martina, you talked about this before. But just for the community's sake, equity and culturally responsive practices was one of the sessions, or a theme of the sessions they could go to. Safe and caring community is another set of sessions that they could go to. Health and wellness, 21st century technology skills, and high quality teaching and learning. So those were the strands basically. And then within each one of those, there was probably 4 or 5 different presentations that could come forward. Quite a bit of it was people that from the outside that came in. We were just talking about a couple of those a little bit earlier, but a lot of it was our expertise within our buildings. And the feedback that I'm getting for the board's sake, as I wanted to, go to and talk with people, that it was exactly what they wanted, exactly where they wanted to be able to go. So offering basically the goals and what we know this district needs, and those 5 strands inside there, and them having the ability to be, rather than being saying, no, we're doing this. Offering those lanes for what they need is that's what we're going toward. And that sort of reflects, actually, we're almost modeling what we would like the kids to be able to do within the classrooms. This is what I need to be successful. And then they tell us, well, project-driven events that happen within the classroom. We're modeling basically how, as a district level and as a board level, and at the teaching and learning level, you do that within your classrooms. You can say, this is a project, this is the end result. How you get there, let's talk about that, and have kids do that. So it's just a reversal. It's a little bit of a progressive thought process as to what we want our in-services and our professional developments to look like in the future. And this is just round 1. And one of the favorites, Martina hadn't said anything about this, with the shirts that came with it. So Michael was talking in the workshop about his t-shirts. There's also a t-shirt that was given out to the presenters and all of the students. And I want to thank the students again. They came and helped on their day off. I know Chair Bryant did that, and several other people have done that as well. The t-shirts, and I was lucky enough to get one of those as well. So that concludes my report, unless everybody else has questions about the Professional Learning Day. I know we covered it earlier.
And we didn't, yeah, thank you for bringing all that up. That's great. We neglected, I neglected, I think, Emily, Tony, Ann, and your team that was there over the week, part of the weekend, really early in the morning, and the weeks and months leading up to all this organization. Went off without a hitch, and it was not done because it's just put together. It was a lot of hard work by all. Thank you to your team for putting that together.
We have a great team.
Yeah, thank you on behalf of the board.
For sure.
Okay, you have anything else on the
That
administrative
concludes
report?
my
That's
report.
it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, we're going to the consent agenda. Anybody have anything they wish to remove from the consent agenda? Ms. Buck or Ms. Bjornsted? Nothing? All right.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
There's a motion by Ms. Tip to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ostendorf. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. We'll start with Ms. Bjornsted. You have a hand raised? No?
Wrong button. I have a little bit of baby fever, sorry. I vote aye.
I think you said Miss Buck, so I say aye.
Okay, thank you. I'm pausing a little bit, trying to come around to you. Ms. Deb?
Aye.
Vote, the chair votes aye. Thank you. Donations and grants.
I have just
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
question. So I didn't have any issue with any of the resignations or things like that on that consent agenda, but, Mr. Norton, I'm wondering if in your administrative report, if you would be able to update us for like open positions, or I'm just kind of curious, like, are those leaving holes, or do we have, where are we at for staffing? Are we okay? What's the beat on that?
Hey, you want me to bring it forward at the next one?
That's fine,
Because we'll
yeah.
talk about it on Friday's agenda and the personnel committee, and then I can bring that forward.
Perfect.
I think what you're asking is like on every meeting, just give a little update where we are with some of the openings and stuff.
Yeah, if we have any open unfilled positions or, other things like that we should know.
There are, and I can bring that information forward.
Thank you. Good. All right. Do you want to do the donations
I'm
and
looking
grants?
for a list inside here. Sure, I can do it.
Okay, go right ahead.
3M of Red Wing donated. We don't have the amount on there right now, but because it's not a dollar amount, they donated 24 cases of tape and 48 cases of Post-it notes to the district. These are distributed to each of the buildings. The Donors Choose team donated to Jody Slocum's classroom 200 PCS water bottle stickers, 100 packs of PCS water bottle, 100 pack of PCS water bottle stickers, and 1 ultra high definition document camera. And the first robotics was they donated $7,500 to Tower View Robotics. Wow.
Very nice to all three groups that donated. So, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So
Ms. Ostendorf, is there a second?
second.
Second by Ms. Schoenfelder. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll start with Ms. Buck.
Aye.
Ms. Tipp,
Aye.
Ms. Ostendorf,
Aye.
Ms. Schoenfelder,
Aye.
Ms. Bjornsted.
Aye.
Votes aye. Again, thank you for the generous donations. Activities handbook. Who's taking that? Mr. Hartman?
I have that,
You want to
now, no, Mr. Hartman's gonna help me with it. You come up, Mr. Hartman? I'm just gonna introduce Mr. Hartman basically to, in there. So the activity handbook has been updated and it's brought to the board for approval, tonight. And Mr. Hartman is here to answer any questions you may have as you went through it.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Hartman. Thank you for coming in here. How's the basketball game going when you left?
You can tell I'm a little red in the face, so it was a
It wasn't going
competitive,
as well as you'd hoped.
competitive game. I just got word that, well, the girls won tonight in Mankato, so they're on their way home here soon. And the boys, we played Mankato a month ago. I think we lost by close to 30. We were up at halftime. We ended up losing by 14 tonight. So I thought the boys had a great effort and played really hard.
So hopefully everybody gets home safe.
Exactly. Exactly.
So as we go forward on this, any changes to the handbook?
So the handbook, when we first ratified it for the first time in 2020, was very specific on that year. So I changed it just to make it more generalized, so it didn't have specific dates to each year, so it didn't have to necessarily be changed. So it was just more generalized. We updated some student clubs and student organizations. And then the parent, athlete, coach communication protocol was updated with some wording. Very similar to how it read in 2020, but just a little bit more specific on how we want our parents, our kids to handle conflict with the coach, with an advisor, and just to be respectful of the process and how these concerns are brought to coaches, how they're brought eventually, possibly to me, and possibly to Mr. Nemenich and myself as well. So that's really the only major changes. So yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Thank you for that addition. I just had a question about the coach advisor evaluation form too. Is that new or has that been included previously? And can you tell us a little bit about how that process works?
Yeah, good question. So when I first came aboard, we didn't have an evaluation system. And I was asked a couple of years in, do we evaluate coaches? My answer was yes, and this is what we used, and it's never been board approved. So I'm really bringing it here just so you can see how we evaluate our coaches and advisors. As you can see, it's a multifaceted job that each one of these individuals does. It's not just, coaching the game here tonight at 5 o'clock and going home. It's managing booster clubs, it's managing finances, it's communicating with parents, it's communicating with kids. It's an educational platform that all of our coaches and advisors are using on a daily basis. It's not just teaching and coaching robotics, right? It's a multifaceted job that they have, and we pay them for 3 months out of the year or 2 months out of the year, but they take it as a year-round position. So both the activities handbook, the communication protocol, and the evaluation form. As ADs, we talk a lot and we compare notes a lot, and so those forms were generated through the help of fellow ADs, not only within the Big Ten Conference, but in some schools in the South Metro, and so that's how I came up with that model for our advisors and coaches here at Redland Public Schools. Now, we typically just evaluate the head coaches, and really this evaluation form it's a self-evaluation that the coaches complete by themselves, and it fuels the conversation that we have on an annual basis. Some years I haven't evaluated coaches, and some years I do. I've kind of just taken it as on a case-by-case basis. Some coaches want to be evaluated every year, and some advisors and coaches, and now if they choose not to, it's not that I don't do it, but some are just asking, hey, can we sit down and really have a conversation about this? I want to see my strengths and weaknesses, and we do that. So, does that answer?
Can I ask you a question, Paul? I was looking at the resolving conflicts, and I think that's an important piece because there's a lot of conflict and how parents or students or coaches, are approached or how they handle that. I just have one question, just because, well, this looks great. I know, like, for example, baseball season coming, you're a parent, you're a coach, and you're the athletic director. So I wondered if there should be listed maybe a path for when we do have an athletic director who is also a head coach, just to kind of help feel like there's fairness or not a conflict of interest or any, do you know what I'm asking? I don't know how to phrase that appropriately, but just because it doesn't apply for like baseball season, if people have any issues because you can't follow those steps because
Good question.
you play a lot of those roles.
Yeah, and number one, it makes very good sense. It's a good question. Number two, I hope that as an AD that things are resolved before they even get to me by following steps 1 and 2, right? And oftentimes, in my 20 years experience as a head coach, those do get resolved if they're done correctly because they're honest, open conversations. Now, I've had in my 4 years as fulfilling both of those roles, some people have gone to the principal, and so that we could list that as a resort, if that's specific to my position as a baseball coach, but I would be more than fine with that. But again, if we're following step 1, step 2, into step 3, and it gets to that point, I think that makes perfect sense. I don't know if that answers your question, but.
I just
We had
wanted
talked
to
about-
throw it out because
Yeah, we had
there
talked
have
about
been
that. It's-
conversations about it, so.
Yeah, that's an easy fix. That if there is an athletic director that happens to be a coach, then it would just be, that process would be talking to you in both forums and then going to the principal.
We can certainly add that in, or, I don't know would I have to bring it back then to get it approved again, or how would that work?
No, we can approve this and then we just amend it after the fact.
Okay.
And we're not the only school that ever had an athletic director as a coach, so we're into the activities that we may have.
Yeah.
So, all right, any other
Can I
questions?
just ask you another question
Yeah.
too, that doesn't pertain to any of this? I was looking at the list of all the activities we offer, both athletics and just all the other side activities. And I'm wondering if you could share an opinion, like just with our enrollment, like declining steadily. Is it appropriate to offer that many activities or athletics still, or, I'm not looking to suggest cuts or anything. I'm just asking if it's appropriate for how many we offer with our current population size.
That's a good question. It's a question that gets thought of a lot in my office by myself as well as our coaches. And I know a lot of our coaches and community members have opinions on it. I certainly have opinions that I would choose not to share right now, and here's why. Is I think a focus group or a group of coaches and our community members to come together and see how people feel, because it's not just my opinion. We are the smallest school in the Big 9 Conference. Everybody knows that. But we do have a lot of activities that schools our size don't offer that our kids benefit from. And so I would just be willing to engage in those types of conversations because, the days of the 3 sports or 3 activity athlete and their person are diminishing, and we want to make sure we're doing the right thing for each individual kid as well as the community at whole. So I do have some opinions on that, but I want to hear from everybody else as well.
Thank you.
Did I answer that without answering
No,
that?
that's okay.
I think it's a wonderful answer.
Well said.
I wasn't sure if I should even ask
No,
or
that's
throw it
okay.
out, but I
Yeah.
was curious.
It's a topic. It really is. Because we're getting spread thin in certain areas.
I think it's a good process or way to go, maybe in summertime when you got nothing really, quote, as many activities when school's not in session during a short time during the summer. Maybe a good time to get feedback from people to go, because, coaches are always busy. They don't want kids are busy, parents are busy with their kids during school and stuff. So, just a suggestion. I like the idea. the approach. Should look at it.
Okay.
Ms. Buck?
I just really like, let me circle back up, the approach to resolving conflicts. To me, it kind of mimics like inside work environments of chain of command on how you are to handle things, the step-by-step process. It would be nice, maybe something in the future just to kind of maybe like verbalize these so people just know how to do chain of command type of, oh, I hate that word. That's such a bad word. But you know what I'm saying. I really like the approach to that. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. We do verbalize them at our PAC meetings. So in the fall, we do one. In the winter, we do one. I think it's Monday, March 6th. We'll do one in the spring. And I try to explain this to parents, not so much kids, because kids, I don't think they necessarily need to know this. If they want something, they can go to the coach. But yeah, thank you for that, Nikki. We do our best to try to let people know that this is what we'd like you to do, right? We can't force them to do it, but this is just out of respect for our coaches and our advisors.
That was my question. You went over it at the PAC.
So you need us
Thank you.
a motion to approve this then tonight?
If you're willing.
Is there a motion to approve? Any further
I
dis-
motion to approve it as written.
Ms. Schoenfelder moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Tipp. All right, we'll start by roll call vote. Ms. Bjornsted,
Aye.
Ms. Ossendorf,
Aye.
Ms. Schoenfelder,
Aye.
Ms. Buck,
Aye.
Ms. Tipp,
Aye.
vote and chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your support. And first time here with our new board members, so welcome, and welcome Ms. Bjornsted as well. So thank you for all you do, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our superintendent search update. With us on the call is Ms. Dorn and Mr. Morris. Good evening.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Morris, I saw you sign in. Are you still
Good
there?
evening, Chair, board members.
Good evening.
Nice to see
it's
everyone.
Good to see you too. And we have, Ms. Rowe is not present this evening, but she'll be certainly listening to the recording, and she has gotten that, I'll have that report on the stakeholders report that you put together with the survey too. But we have a little bit of information that you want to provide, Ms. Dorn, on, we'll start with you on the superintendent search update.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chair Bryant. Good to see everyone. Just a couple of things I want to review for you in a few minutes here. First of all, Craig and I are really looking forward to our meeting with you on Thursday this week. And we will be joining you virtually based on the forecast. Would love to be there in person, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to make it, but we will be there virtually, and you will be receiving some more information prior to that.
Wait, I thought you were getting out that rocket dog sled that you have, and like it's like a
You think
super
I have a dog
Subaru-
sled, huh?
it's like a super snowmobile. It's tricked out.
Yeah, sure it is. Sure. No, I'll be virtual. I'm hoping that the internet connection here in Nicolet's going to be strong enough to be able to stay connected on Thursday, but we are looking forward to that. You did receive the stakeholder report last Thursday. I sent that to all board members. If you need to find it in your inbox, it was sent Thursday the 16th at 4:42. So please take some time if possible to read through that before the meeting Thursday. There's a lot to digest. It is 18 pages. And so we want to make sure that Craig and I will present the information as well. And we want to be able to answer questions you might have. So if you have some time to review it, please do so. I also want to thank everyone who participated in this. You had tremendous response from your stakeholders. We had 318 people complete the survey, and we had 248 people at the listening sessions that Craig led. So between those two opportunities, we had 566 touch points with stakeholders regarding the superintendent search. So a lot of thanks and appreciation to the people that took the time to do that. Also, when we've discussed the stakeholder report on Thursday, we'll be asking the board to discuss and decide upon what stakeholder input you may or may not need during the interview process. So in that same email that you received with the stakeholder report, there is a one-page summary of the three options for you to consider We'll talk through. We didn't want you to decide that until you'd seen that stakeholder report. So we'll be deciding that on Thursday as well. The second piece we'll be covering on Thursday, in addition to that stakeholder report, is interview training. I will be sending an email to you with that tomorrow. It's a pretty thick packet, 40 to 50 pages of information. You do not need to review it in advance. However, if you want to, I did want to send it early enough for you to take a peek through it. We'll be going through that Thursday virtually with you, but if you want to look through it, you will be getting that in an email tomorrow. And then the third piece that we'll be doing on Thursday is reviewing some draft interview questions. Craig and I have crafted those based on your hiring criteria, the stakeholder report, and the input from the listening sessions. So we have some recommended questions for you. I'm going to send that just right before the meeting. They are going to be public at some point, but we do not want them public at this point because we do not want to create that unlevel playing field where some candidates know the questions and others don't. So when we meet on Thursday, Chair Bryant's going to facilitate a conversation about question numbers. You know, we'll have perhaps 30 approximately questions for you to consider. He will help you decide, well, do you like question 3, 4, or 5 better? And you'll have a chance to select the questions you might prefer. We'll try not to actually speak the questions aloud. And that is for a good purpose, as I'm sure you can understand. So that is Thursday's meeting. Again, really looking forward to it. I did want to give you a very quick update too on the candidates because your application pool has now closed. All of you got an email this morning from Shelby at MSBA. Revelis is what it might say in the subject line there. That is how you create your username and password. There's instructions in there for you to go through and set that up. And then tomorrow, you as board members will have access to the applications up in the cloud. So I just wanted to give you a couple of quick reminders. Please remember that this is private data. All of the information you're going to see relative to the applications must not be seen by anyone other than school board members. So again, don't download the applications, don't do screenshots, don't look at them in the coffee shop with people walking behind you. Just please be very, very careful with that. Also, you will see these the same time while MSBA is doing our vetting process. You may be approached by folks who are curious as to who's in the applicant pool. Remember, you cannot confirm or deny anyone because it is private until you name on March 6th the people you're going to be interviewing. Those names become public when you choose to interview them, and everyone else remains private forever. So just a reminder on the delicacy of the information that you are going to be reviewing between tomorrow and March 6th. My last point, and then I want to address any questions that you might have, is I can share with you that there were 15 applications for the Red Wing superintendency. So congratulations on that. That is the largest pool we have seen this year for the searches we've conducted. So there is obviously something very special about Red Wing Public Schools. And you'll be hearing more information from us on the March 6th meeting, and you'll be seeing a lot more information tomorrow. So I just gave you a lot of information. I'm going to stop speaking for a moment, see if Craig, do you have anything to add?
Not a thing. Just looking forward to the meeting on Thursday. Thank you, Barb.
Thank you. And are there any questions from the board?
I'll jump in front of you, Ms. Buck, real quick, because I've been involved a little bit with Ms. Dorn and Mr. Morris. Ms. Dorn was going to be here on Thursday and hand us the questions. Because we've had some staff members asking and inquiring and pressuring or talking to, wondering about candidates and all that. So please understand there's people in the district that are asking, and please, please, please do not share names, questions, because those people that are applying, as Ms. Dorn said, there's private data, because some of them, probably the majority of them have jobs already, and they may or may not know that where they're doing it. So you will be asked. Please do not share it until the 6th, when we as a board decide who we want to interview and release those names then. And then the questions will be sent electronically. Will be mentioned on Thursday again. Please delete them as soon as the meeting is over. Do not even keep it in your inbox, because who knows, whatever. We may forget about them or something like that. So Those are questions that we have that are being brought forward. We'll decide what they are, and we want to make sure that nobody has an unfair advantage over others. So, Ms. Buck?
I just want to know who I'm to contact in case I have trouble accessing the applications, because I think I had trouble. I always have technical difficulties, but I just want to know who I'm to contact just in case.
Yep. That is a great question. Please reach out to Shelby Herrera. And Shelby's contact information is in the email I believe that you received this morning. Yes. Yes, her phone number and her email address are there. She is our Revelis guru, and she will be able to troubleshoot anything you might need. I am not the person to help you with that because technology is not my friend, but Shelby is very, very good with this database, and she'll be able to get you access. So thank you for asking, Director Buck. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nikki. I was thinking the same thing. Thanks for asking. Now we have the answer with you on that. I have trouble too, so. Okay, well, that's what we have. That's great news. 15 people applying. They're going through their job. MSBA is doing their job, putting them together. They will make a recommendation for list, but ultimately on the 6th, it's our decision on who and how many we want to interview on the 9th. So, thank you again to Ms. Dorn and Mr. Morris for all your work on this. It's the process, other than the weather, we got to work on your two being able to control the weather a little better so we can meet in person more. And that we never fathomed that that this 23rd of February would be a snow problem. We were worried about the 9th and the 13th of March, which was good stuff.
So, well, thank you very much, everyone. Again, we look forward to seeing you Thursday. In the meantime, reach out to Shelby with technical questions about the applications. And if you have any other questions about the process, you've got contact information for both Craig and for me. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in 2 days.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll be here present, and I'm understanding, I think Ms. Schoenfeld will be here present, and maybe even Ms. Ossendorf if she get out of her driveway. So we'll be here if the weather changes and the weather people are not correct on their amounts, but we don't want you to risk it. We want you to be safe. That's the main thing here, be safe with this very dangerous storm that's coming upon us. So.
We sure appreciate it. Thank you very much for understanding. And if you need anything, let us know. All right. So take care, everybody. Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Okay, next topic is public summary of superintendent evaluation. You all had a copy of it, made it public there. Thank you, Mr. Norton, for his putting in the information, and all the board members for supplying and filling out the evaluation. And it's a mid-year one. It's not the full one, so it's a very abbreviated. So, all right, questions? I don't think we need a motion on it, do we? No. All right, we are this time gonna go into closed session. Were you here for a specific reason?
I couldn't find, I was gonna come for public comments.
Oh,
but
okay.
I couldn't find the building.
Oh, sorry.
Are you
No,
missing?
that wasn't your fault, that was my fault. I left my phone at home,
Oh,
so I couldn't find it. But that's
Well, our next meeting is on the 6th of March for public comment. The special meeting, which is Thursday, is not, we do not do public comment during special meetings. So you're welcome to come back then or send us an email to Mr. Norton or myself, and we'll read it on your behalf.
I will do that.
Okay, already. And look at, there's a criteria that we have for public comment on our website. Please look at that too, please.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about the mix up there.
too.
Oh, I plan to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna get out of this. Oh, let's see, we have to, motion to open the closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Second, okay. Roll call vote. It starts with Ms. Buck.
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Tiff?
Aye.
Ms. Schoenfelder,
Aye.
Ms. Ossendorf,
Hi.
chair votes aye. After this, we'll just close out because we have no other business coming before this board from that meeting then. So we are going into closed session. Please go into the new link that you have, and we will be there in about 5 minutes. How's that sound? Okay. See you soon.
Close session.